Another race week means the pits are getting set up in yet another town in another country, and currently Val di Sole, Italy is completely stacked with mountain bikers. As the teams finish setting up, there's a lot of mingling happening around the tents as everyone reconvenes after their week off since Maribor.
These are custom Ed Bull Media House clocks. Yeah. They're very close to being a croc, but they're in fact a clock. And they've been customised by myself for extra ventilation on hot days.
Wow. What was the final diagnosis for the injury?
I separated my shoulder and broke my scapula.
Oh.
And I had surgery on Tuesday. And they basically like scalp your shoulder and peel it back, and then so I got a pretty gory scar. So it's a bit of a shitter. I was kind of hoping that they wouldn't have to do any like ligament stuff. I've got to get this pin out in 8 weeks. Right. So, yeah.
This year to bust.
It's the season ender, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw you've been taking the chance to get some hiking in though.
I hate hiking. I went one hike in Vans and got blisters on 5 toes. Yeah, I'm just going to be a media guy. Got the dad cam fired up.
How does World Champs differ from a normal World Cup?
It's a bit more like the Olympics.
Like similar to the Olympics, where everybody's under nationalities and you wear a national jersey instead of your team jersey usually. Like the bigger teams will have their own setups here. Smaller teams will be under a federation. So you'll have like national teams, like you'll have the Italian national team here.
So depending on the riders, some of them really want to get involved with the national federation because the national federations bring a staff of 5 or 6 or 7 people. They'll have, you know, maybe 5 cameras on track, someone to analyse the footage and the data that night, get all the riders together for an analysis session and discuss fastest lines or approaches. So some of the teams, like the French teams, the top riders will, you know, get involved and kind of work with the national federation. But then there's other riders that will just keep things the same as a World Cup and treat this just as a World Cup, and the only difference will be the jersey they wear. That's it.
So yeah, you see different mechanics, different riders, different teams, but the big teams are all still here.
As the sport gets more professional and the teams get bigger and all the big teams have big trucks and the big infrastructure, I think that the top riders especially try to keep it as close as possible, because you have to keep your process and your systems as close to World Cup. If you're doing 7 World Cups in a year and 1 World Champs, you're not going to throw the baby out and do something totally different just for 1 race, you know?
Well, everyone would say, oh, it's like the same race, but obviously there's a lot more on the line and certain people are pretty good at like delivering on the day.
I've learned from my experience that I have to take race the same, you know, even if it's just a regional race or local race, I would take it the same than if it's a World Champs. This is the way it works for me. To perform and to go fast, I always have to go through my routines, through the same things, and so I will just keep going and doing the same.
Yeah, World Champs is different because you don't have to worry about points or getting a good qualifying and scoring points and being consistent through a season. It's just one race, the final race. People don't look too far down the results sheet, so you can kind of put more risk into it and lay more on the line to try to get a better result. Yeah, I think it's interesting and it's exciting for people to watch too, because all the riders are going a lot harder than they normally would and laying it all on the line for that, so it's cool. Someone like Gwyn, it's like the missing piece of his trophy cabinet. Well, obviously he's not racing this week, but you know, like for people like him, you know, it'd be a race that you'd be like putting a lot of weight on.
There's definitely more pressure for a World Champs because it's a 1-day race. So some people are really good at the 1-day pressure and some people are good at the long-term overall stuff. So it probably is a little bit different that way.
Even just as a spectator, you do notice quite a few differences here at World Champs. Obviously part of it's because we just came from Maribor, which was a downhill race only, but it's cool being here now with just all of these smaller setups from the different countries' federations and all the XC teams. Just a lot going on around here. So as usual, tomorrow is track walk day for the downhill riders, and Val di Sole is a pretty notorious location. So I'm stoked to see the track. We'll see you tomorrow.